Everyone in the village is speaking about the monster. That is what they called your father's life's work, a monster, and they're right.
They are not right. My father was a genius, and his creation will...
It will do nothing but kill.
Who is this irresistible creature that has an insatiable love for the dead? No, not a Rob Zombie song. That is from the trailer for today's movie review. Welcome back to Bad Movie Review, and tonight we're talking, of course, about Lady Frankenstein from 1971. This 84-minute spectacular film is pretty much a Frankenstein film. Just because it's a woman involved doesn't make it any less badass. The premise is Dr. Frankenstein's daughter, Tanya, has come home just in time. Her father and his assistant, Charles, are on the verge of creating life. Baron Frankenstein cuts a few corners. You know how you do. And that results in a damaged hypothalamus, something like that, and a partly burned face on the creature, because, can't really look too human. It's a monster. The creature, of course, because that's what creatures do, goes on a murderous rampage while Tanya plots the creation of a second creature, one with the brain of Charles and the body of the family farmhand, who, of course, she finds very stunningly attractive, because Charles is a creepy old genius. And nope, she wants somebody physically attractive, but with Charles's brain. Now, of course, there is a hunchback. He's on the grave robbing team, because that's mandatory in a Frankenstein movie. But Charles is just some older doctor type guy, but she doesn't find him attractive. So what do? They seduce the guy. He's a little mentally slow, but she seduces him, and it's because she finds him attractive, and her husband is watching, which I found a little weird. And then they smother him, because that seems like an appropriate response to weird sex, I guess. So, the acting was actually pretty solid in this. It's standard hyperbolic B-movie Italian horror, but for an Italian horror film, this was actually very well written, I thought. The acting was pretty solid, especially for a lower budget film. There are a few technical glitches, like the bats look really, really hokey, because they're flapping around like somebody jiggling a string. And the monster looks a little dorky, not gonna lie. The prosthetic looked really fake. But Rosalba Neri, who plays Tanya Frankenstein, better known as Sarah Bay to American audiences. Wow, smoking hot. Thankfully, she likes to whip her boobs out a couple times. Overall, you're going to see 4 different sets of boobies and 3 butts. And it's I'm not going to lie, none of them were bad to look at. They were quite fun. So if you want schlocky horror, but that's well written and has lots of boobies, this one might be for you. Also, the monster has a pretty high body count. I counted about 11 people that it seems to have killed. They say he killed about 8, but there was some other stuff kind of going on at the same time they were having that conversation. Like the mob was trying to rush him, and then he tore through them pretty quick. But at the same time, the captain of the guard is off talking to Miss Frankenstein. She doesn't actually use the name Frankenstein for better part of the movie. She uses Charles' last name because she marries him, and that's Marshall. So she's not actually Lady Frankenstein. She'd be Baroness Marshall. So yeah, I found that a little weird, but overall, this was a fun movie. I expected it to be really bad. I haven't actually seen this one before today, even though I've owned it for ages. I actually have it on like 4 different multi-packs. Those 50 packs are great for stuff like this. But this is a hidden gem. I figured it was going to be, because you see photos of the prosthetic on the monster, and you're like, oh, that looks even subpar for my standards, which are pretty low, let's be honest. But no, it was actually a very well written movie. It's a little slower, but it's a good character piece. Like, you get to see Dr. Frankenstein build the monster, and then his daughter also Dr. Frankenstein, kind of take over the mantle when his creature kills him and goes on a rampage. So it was really cool. I'm not ruining anything. That's all pretty well ruined in every description of this film. But yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun. It was a good character piece. It really showed the kind of narcissism involved in playing God or creator or, whatever. So, and it really kind of showed how shallow Tanya was in a lot of parts. Overall, though, it was a lot of fun. The ethical dilemma wasn't even really there for her, but you could kind of see that through Charles's eyes. And I thought, overall, like I said, this was a fun one. I recommend checking it out. It's got a little bit of cheese. Okay, it's got a lot of cheese. And it is really well written. I thought the acting was pretty good. The girls are pretty. And it all was pretty tightly put together. You get an idea of who's going where and doing what. There's not a lot of extraneous scenes except for the monsters rampaging, but that's what monsters do, so you kind of have to have that. And the villagers kind of get taken to task when they go all pitchfork and torches on the monster, and he just plows through them like they're nothing. And of course they get a little pissy about it and start burning down people's houses, because they hate science. And that's what you learn in all these Frankenstein movies is villagers hate science. Oh sure, that science is trying to kill them too. But angry mobs and science just do not go together. So beware of that if you're involved in some science, especially the mad kind. Watch out for the villagers. So, gonna wrap it up here. Give this one a recommendation. Be sure and check it out. It was a lot of fun. It was definitely much better than I expected. And for all the factors that I said, it's pretty well done. It's a lower quality film, granted. It's a B movie in the technical sense, and the music soundtrack's kind of cheesy, but it was fun. It was a fun film, good popcorn flick, and if you like Frankenstein movies, this definitely deserves a place on your shelf. I've seen way worse than this, that's for sure. But I thought it was really well done, really well written, and you should watch it. It's on all the streaming services. It's on DVD, VHS, if you're a barbarian and still have a VHS player. But it's on several different multi-packs, and you can usually find it independently. There's a couple people a couple groups that have released it in those like cheap dollar format DVDs. And I've seen it on Amazon for $7 or $8. I honestly wouldn't feel guilty paying that, but my standards are pretty low. So you might want to kind of check it out on DVD first or borrow it from somebody. But I highly recommend, if you're a horror fan, checking this one out. It's a lot of fun, and I've seen way worse Frankenstein movies. So check it out. It's got some original ideas here, and if you like boobs, there's plenty of that to keep you occupied too. So check it out, and let me know what you think in the comments section. Thanks for listening.
Think, no. Instinct. Instinct changes the world, not thought, and my instinct tells me to transplant that brain right now, and you won't help me. I'll do it alone.